Hello, Facebook. How are you tonight? I am so excited for today's transmission. I feel it in my body like I am meant to deliver this. This is going to be something that for some of you are like, whoa, feel the connection or feel that pull of like, I need this. I want more of this experience that you just shared. I just felt it. Like I was having a little bit of, gonna be honest, a little hard time putting this outline together and like, how do I want to share this story? I knew what I wanted to share, but how am I going to deliver it so that it lands for you and it makes sense to you? And it all came together today. Or was it last night? I think it was today. Like today it really came together. So I'm really excited to share this. So if you're coming live or if you're watching the replay, please say hello. I want to say hello back and welcome you into this space, into this container, into this moment of me and you. And a little bit about who I am. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jessica Lozano. I am a femme priestess and I am a lover of women and our empowerment. And I help women realign with their truth and their power in relationships to who they really are so they can really flourish that in their relationships. So really finding sovereignty in their relationships and that ultimate feeling that we all want from our beloved. That is who I'm here to help. So I'm going to share a story with you that has been in my channel for a while to share with you, about 8 to 9 months. And it's really finally like it is ready to be birthed out into the world and to be shared. And then at the very end, I'm going to share a little bit more about my program, The Liberated Woman, and some other programs that I have that you may be interested in if this really lands and really resonates with you. But either way, I have a very important and powerful message to share with you today. So I have my notes here to keep me in track because I can tend to get sidetracked, especially when I get really excited. I want to make sure that I'm hitting everything that I wanted to share. Okay, so I'm going to start this off by going a little bit backwards in my life. In 2017, when I first started my business, 2017 was a big year for me. It's the year that I ended my engagement to my ex-fiance, who was it was a codependent, toxic, narcissistic relationship. I ended that engagement in January of 2017. I met Ron in April of 2017. And then in May of 2017, I decided before, but it was the day that I started my business. I quit corporate and I went off on my own. I was like, I need to live my dream. The first month was great. The first month, I hit 10K. I was like, oh my God, I did it. I'm so supported. And then after that, things started to like downward spiral. My relationship was going great. Ron is just an amazing man. But my business and money side was just, and I was really mad. I was really mad at God. I was like, what? I was like, I just couldn't understand. I'm like, God, like, why? I left the man that was no good for me. I'm aligned with myself. I'm choosing myself also by running my own business. I'm doing great with this man in my life. Like I've healed so much that like only thing that's coming through with me and Ron was just truth and expansion, honesty and love and fun and just purity. And I was like, why aren't you here for me? Why have you abandoned me? Is how I felt. I felt so abandoned. I felt so betrayed by God. I was like, I've done everything that you asked. And I say that because I didn't really felt that God told me you need to do these things, but I felt like I did everything you asked in the sense of I did the brave things. I left the toxic relationship, even though I could have stayed and had the dream, whatever. I could have stayed in my comfort, but no, I chose myself. I was brave and I was courageous. I chose myself in my business and my career, and I was courageous. Like, I've done the courageous things that you've wanted me to do, to live my life of my pure heart. Why have you abandoned me? Why have you betrayed me? That's like, I remember clear as day saying that at a park. I was just like, I don't get it. I was so mad. I was so mad at God. And this is where my overcompensated masculine really started to come in with my business. I was really open, really excited. And then right away I clamped down and I was like, this is a human thing. I need to figure this out. Okay. So that happened in 2017. So fast forward, we're now in 2021. Things are still struggling, financially and things like that. But I've taken a turn in my spirituality in 2020. In 2020, I shifted. I said, you know what? This isn't working. Because from 2017 to 2020, I just really went hard on my overcompensated masculine energy, just really hard on it. And then I finally I went on my knees, basically, metaphorically speaking, in March. And I was like, okay, show me. Because the same feelings that I was feeling with my ex, I remember journaling the same feelings, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Right? So I made a shift spiritually. I was like, I'm going to focus on my spirituality, because that's really kind of what has always shifted me. Okay, so that's 2020. And then we're going on to 2021. Well, in between 2017 and 2021, once I moved up here in 2018, up in Jersey to live with Ron, because we did long distance for 1 year. That's when our sexuality, our intimate life, you could start to see the holes there. Because when we were doing long distance, I mean, every time we saw each other was a vacation. We didn't see each other for a month, for 3 months. So there was always sex going on. Like, there was all the time. Right? There was so much time in between. There was such a high when we saw each other. So when we started living together, things started to show differently. As when I started to notice, like, I felt it, but then when he vocalized it, I'm like, all right, I need to start working on this. And like, in terms of his unfulfillment in the bedroom, because I was really suppressed. Like, I really didn't show a lot, because I didn't want that to be the reason why he loved me. I didn't want that to be the glue to our relationship, because I've had that before and that didn't turn out really great. But I knew that there was this resistance anyways. Like, I kept feeling this resistance. So I've been working on it, right? But 2021, there was this program that I decided to take that involved tantric principles into business. And it used all your sacred sexual anatomy for like gateways and activations and portals to certain areas that require in your money and business, right? So I was like, business, money, and sex, my sexual anatomy, yes, I'm in this. I was like, this is a win-win thing for me. I'm going to work on this part. I'm going to work on this part of my relationship. Like, let's go. So we get into this part of the program where we're working on our cervix. So, and de-armoring the cervix, because this is like your money portal. This is bringing the unmanifested into the manifested. Right? So I'm going into this. We're in that time, in that subject that week, in that morning of the section of de-armoring the cervix. I was feeling this lack of trust in God, lack of faith in God. I was feeling this Let me see if I wrote it. I know I wrote it down. I was feeling a lot of my father wounds come up. Because I think we were also talking about the masculine. I can't really remember exactly what was happening, but I remember my father wounds really being potent that morning. And I remember just feeling like that little girl where my dad would always lie to me and give false promises. I would want something and he would say, yes, yes, I'll do it. And then he would never do it. It was almost like saying yes so that he would shut me up. And just lies, just straight up lies. So I was feeling this pain. And I was feeling that like deeply when it came to money and to God. Like I couldn't trust God to give me the things that I wanted because my own father didn't do it for me. And that's the first thing that we connect. That's the first relationship we have to the masculine, and anything that's a masculine representation like God, we're going to project that onto him. So I was feeling like God doesn't have my back. He's not here for me. He's lying to me. He's making these false promises, right? That's the way that I'm feeling. And that morning I asked for a prayer. I said a prayer asking for healing. After that, I moved into a yoni de-armoring session. If you don't know what that is, it's you use a crystal yoni wand that is about, I don't know, like maybe this long. There's different lengths to it. And it's made out of a crystal. So this was a rose crystal, a rose quartz. And what you do is that you start at the opening. First of all, you got to warm yourself up. You really have to get yourself sexually aroused in order before you allow the yoni wand to penetrate inside of you. You never want to penetrate yourself with the wand if you are not in that state. So then as you start penetrating, you start feeling, where do you start to feel tension inside your yoni? And you put pressure on it, because these areas are like pressure points where our womb and our yoni hold a lot of emotional pain there, and memories and emotions and traumas, right? So each time that you put a pressure on it, it starts to release this. It starts to release that pain. It starts to show you where what's being held there for you to release and to heal. So I'm doing this, I'm finding points, and there's a lot of shame in certain points that I'm feeling, right? And then I go and I get to the cervix. She's numb. I'm feeling and dropping into, I'm like, what are you feeling like? Numb. I feel numb. So I start to gently rub circles. Because that's what you do. You're very gentle in this process. You know, you don't pressure point it to the point that it hurts. You pressure point it to the point that you feel a little pressure, but it's enough to release. So circles. And then during this time, I'm starting to feel like uncomfortable in my body. Like just uncomfortable. Like it wasn't the yoni wand wasn't making me feel physically uncomfortable. I just started to feel all these uncomfortable sensations in my body. And I was just like, oh my God, I feel so uncomfortable. And then I was guided. My feminine intuition said, just leave the yoni wand there and just feel your emotion, like feel yourself. So I'm feeling my body and I'm embodying and showing, like expressing those uncomfortable feelings, sensations that I'm feeling. And I'm just moving. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, feel so uncomfortable. I still feel so uncomfortable. I feel so uncomfortable. And it was really uncomfortable to the point where I just want to take this one out of me. Like, this really sucks. And I'm just in it. I'm in it. I feel uncomfortable. Like all throughout my skin is feeling uncomfortable. My legs, my arms, just like it's taking all over me. And then I feel like my arms just wrap around me. And it wasn't me moving my arms. And I hear I'm here. It's okay to relax. I'm here. And it was like the words, not like, it was the words of God. It was the words of Divine Father. And in that moment, I was able to start relaxing into that uncomfortableness. My body's like releasing. And then I complete the session. And then I start going into sacred dance to land the codes that were just given to me by God. And it wasn't really codes. It was, I want to say a feeling. I want to say a security. I want a healing. The healing that happened. It was a healing. A masculine wound healing. And I looked back at my journal and I wrote that I wanted to get out of my head and down into my body. That's another reason why I started to move, because I guess I was in my head still, even though like my thoughts were still heavy in my head, even though my body could relax. So I go into these movements, just releasing and embodying the healing that just took place. And it was really gentle. I do remember that. It was really gentle. It was a lot of moving my head around in my neck to really drop the energy down into my body. In that moment, changed so much for me. That moment connected me, God, sexuality, and healing the masculine wounds. It was the first time that I felt like safe in my body and safe in life. And it was the first time that I saw that I was projecting my father wounds onto God. Because when I'm also talking about projecting my father wounds onto God, when I'm talking about money, if you are more struggling, let's say in your relationship, I want you to replace that. So I was struggling with the universe to deliver to me, right? Because to me, the money is a masculine energy. It comes to you, provides safety, security, provides safety, security. There's something else I wanted to safety, security, and stability. Money provides these three things. These are masculine quality. These are masculine energies, right? So when I wasn't feeling that from money, and I wasn't feeling that, from money, the only place I had to project it on was to God, because I wasn't working at a place anymore where I could blame it on these people and whatever. It's like, no, like, it's me in the universe, right? So I'm projecting these wounds onto God because my inner child could not trust the masculine. And God is a masculine figure for spirit for source, right? We have Divine Mother and we have Divine Father. But Divine Father, we see him more as like the protector, the provider, the safety, security that we feel within him, right? And this is the first time that I connected that. And it was so mind-blowing to me. I was like, wow, my little child, my inner child was holding on to this. So I had that healing from that. And it was another moment that I was able to connect our sacred sexual anatomy with God. Because it wasn't a spirit guide that came through. It wasn't an ascended master. It wasn't a goddess. It wasn't, mother, Divine Mother. It was Divine Father that came through. The masculine energy God, where we have been programmed to believe, if you were grown in, let's say, a church, in my experience, I can't speak for any other religion, but in my experience, growing up in the church, it was almost like sexuality was very much condemned. It's bad, it's the devil, it's sin, you don't have sex before marriage. Masturbation and self-pleasure is, looked down upon. And, you look how they show up, usually a lot of, it's appropriate to be really covered up. Like, that was like the accepted way in how I saw, in my perception of all this, right? And then the one that's going to come and, burn you in hell because of it is God. So that was the first time that I've really, as I started to decondition a lot of these old programs, I got it conceptually, but I didn't really feel it in my body until that moment. I was like, if sex is so bad, why would Divine Father come in during a yoni de-armoring session? Right? So it was the first time that I also had a lot of healing with Divine Father God and sex and sexuality and my sexual organs that I hold in my body, that we've been told as women is so shameful and so gross and so yucky unless you're doing the nasty, but like your womb, it bleeds. Exploring your own body, don't do that. That's so gross. That's so inappropriate. That's so not good girl like. And this was the first time that I felt God like he was me. He was interconnected with me. And we hear this saying that you are an extension of Source. Therefore, you are Source. And this was the first time that I really connected it. It was like he was me and I was him. And this moment in my life really changed everything for me. Like, really, money really started to come through in my life. I really started to see Ron in a different way, because I had a lot of wounds when it came to to the money and to the father and all that, and really seeing him as that security. Like, he was holding all these qualities. He doesn't lie to me. He follows through with everything that he says. He's been that security, stable provider for me as I'm here expanding my new knowledge as a businesswoman, right? He's holding that space, and it healed a lot within me and him, right? I think there was something else I wanted to say about that. Turning point. Okay. So yeah, I really felt him in my body. Like we were connected. And this is when I really noticed the power of our own sacred sexual anatomy, ladies. The power of our feminine body. I was like, wow. This is our connection, one of our ways to connect directly to God, to Source, to Spirit, to our highest self, to the spirit guides, to ascended masters, to whatever it is that whatever spiritual word you want to put onto it, to higher consciousness. I was like, our bodies, wow. And I continued. I don't really do the yoni de-armoring sessions a lot. I've only done maybe, I would say, 6. I wrote it down in my journal. That was the one when I did that one that I've just shared about. That was about number 4. So I did another one that's 5. So I've done maybe about 6 or 7, 10 the most yoni de-armoring sessions. But the one thing that I've been very consistent with since that time that provided me the most integration of my feminine essence and my direct connection with source and my ability to drop more into my feminine and for Ron to go more into his masculine has been the sacred feminine dances. Without a doubt, that has been the one thing that I've been doing ever since that has really continued to open and open and open and open my feminine essence and have that direct connection to God, to source, to my highest self. Really more my highest self and other deities, you want to say. That one time with the cervix de-armory session was a very divine intervention with God. I wouldn't say even intervention, a divine connected moment with him. Because I prayed for that. I asked for that healing and I received it. And I knew I needed it. I knew that my wounds from my childhood were getting in the way. And using my own sacred sexual anatomy to connect to God was like mind-blowing. Because it's an area that we've been so ashamed, that we've been programmed to be ashamed about. Or that we overly give it to men. Because that was me before. I overly gave my body to men before, and then I went the other way because I did not want that to ever happen to me again, even though I was with the safe, most trusted man that I've ever met in my life. So this is the power of our bodies. This is the power of really moving our bodies and using our bodies to connect with ourselves and to connect with the divine. Like, every woman needs to know this. Like, I wish I knew this growing up. This should be a rite of passage for women, from a young lady to woman. It really should be. So, and then so as I continued with that, with those practices, is really, you've heard me, if you've seen some of my lives, I've spoken about how me and Ron, our relationship got initiated. And it got initiated through a lot of things. Number one, me working through a lot of this trauma, this sexual suppression that I was experiencing, this lack of feminine energy that I was just pushing down because it wasn't safe to be really me. I wasn't taught to really be me. I was really taught to be overly masculine, and that everything is masculine. That's how you get things done. I thought the masculine was a superior, gender. So as I started to do more of that healing of my own feminine essence, of really what makes me as a woman, and me fully being in my power, and through movement, because feminine practice and spirituality is a lot of movement, like dancing, body expression, some of the things that I talked about with your sacred sexual anatomy, with like the yoni wand. There's other practices there, but we are really meant to be expressive because the feminine is a creative energy. We are the creatrix. We create life in our wombs, okay? Like, it's fucking powerful as shit. Like, have we not, seen the power that happens in our body? And of course, we need the masculine for that other very important piece too. So it's not to trash talk the masculine at all. Men are gorgeous humans, and they hold sacred energy as well, and their divine embodiment of the masculine. But we need to give them permission to do that, and we need to give permission for us to be in our feminine. And when we do that, both of us have better connections to source, better connections to our own higher self. So, but in the context of this, our movement is so important. I can't express that enough, because this is how we express how we are feeling and really move emotions out of us. This is how you are really going to get the insights and the downloads. I get so many insights and downloads when I start setting intentions with my practices, the practices that I'll be teaching you inside of TLW, the Liberated Woman. And they come in so gentle, not even gentle. They come in without effort. You know what I mean? Like, they don't come by force. It comes by just like, I'm being in my feminine, I'm opening, I'm moving, and expressing my body. The codes come through. And this sacred movement, especially with the erotic movement, which we'll be learning in the sexual liberation pillar, is really what got me in touch with that creatrix part of us, that dark feminine energy that magnetizes and calls in, creates what she wants. So, and that energy is what got got integrated with Ron and I when we experienced that transcendental, intimate moment, sex. When we both were initiated into our relationships, into the next levels, through my divine feminine embodiment and my ability to surrender to the masculine and really allow the masculine to hold his space. And all of that needed to happen by healing my inner child wounds with my father wounds, healing my wounds of that I projected onto God, and healing my sexual suppression. All of that. And even before that, because I had to heal everything of me when I was just leaking that energy out, which was the first few sessions of the Yoni de-armoring session, and the sessions of when I would move my body in the sexual and erotic dance, really reclaiming my sexuality for me, which is so important, which is what you're going to be really teaching in this module. And the reason why I talk so much about this specific module in the Liberated Woman is because this is an area that a lot of women, like most women, have a lot of shame around, and we don't really know what to do with this own energy. It's either been condemned or it's either been overly exploited. So there's what's the divine way? What's the divine feminine way to reclaim this energy for myself? And how do I integrate that with a man that I trust and that I love? To experience something beyond, something transcendental, not just common intimacy, which of course you're still going to have that, but those moments where that really takes you and your relationship to the next level and expands you and your partner at a different way. Like in an evolved way, consciousness, right? And like change your relationship forever, because with this moment that me and Ron were having, this tension with intimacy, it was affecting our relationship. And there was other things too, which is why the shadow liberation is the first module, because you really need to go into the areas that you've been holding down. These are the areas that you have disconnected from yourself because you felt they weren't safe to feel or it's not safe to express. So this is a really important module, because me and Ron had to go through this before we were able to get to the transcendence. And then for us to really express ourselves authentically in the relationship. Now, if you're single or in it's complicated relationship, this is something that you're going to do for yourself so that you can really embody all of who you are as a woman, experience everything that I'm sharing with you for yourself. And then when you call in that partner, that divine partner that you trust to give your body to, number one, you're going to show up in the intimate life in a completely different way. There's no way you're going to show up the same way. And there's no way that you are going to show your body that this is what you're worth in a relationship, because you're going to reclaim that for yourself. So another thing that I actually want to talk about that I didn't write here is that when I felt that energy in the Yoni de-armoring session, when God came in and he's like, I'm here, it's safe to relax, you can let go, you know, I'm here. In that same moment, I was also healing my own inner masculine. And I was also being able to create a safe space for myself in that moment. If I could not do that, I would have pulled that one out and I would have said, I'm done. I can't handle this. But I listened to my feminine intuition, and then God came in. So when he came in, he was a representation of that divine masculine, obviously. And it showed me how to hold myself in that as well. This was another piece to this whole thing that allowed me to just feel safe with life, feel safe within my own body, and then allow life, reflect that in life. Because if you don't feel safe in life, you're always going to be in some kind of anxiety, some kind of panic, you know, projecting things onto your partners, projecting things onto work, self-sabotaging, because if it's not safe, you're going to prove to yourself that it's not safe. Because at least you know what that looks like and it's comfortable, even though it's uncomfortable. If that makes sense. So in that same moment, I was calling in, or I was activating my own divine inner masculine, not the overcompensated one, the divine masculine quality of being able to hold myself in something that's uncomfortable, which is what you're going to do in these practices. Because when you're doing practices that are somatic and you're doing it by yourself, it can very much feel like, this is weird. Like, why am I doing this? It's so awkward. But you need to be able to feel comfortable with yourself in these sacred containers that you are holding with yourself, because this is between you and the one above, or whatever you believe in, you and your higher self, or just you and you. Okay? Because you're, especially in the shadow module, you are going to be like letting a lot of stuff out, and you need to be able to witness yourself in that raw, sometimes ugly feelings and ugly expressions. But that's okay. There's beauty in that when you can hold yourself through that. When you can see yourself through that and be there for you the way you've always wanted mom and dad, or your sisters, or your brother, or your partner, or your friends to be there for you, you are going to be there for you for yourself first. That is so important when it comes to integrating that into a relationship, integrating that into definitely a relationship, but anywhere in your life. You got to hold yourself. You want to be a woman that a man, it's like, wow, she's got herself together. Hold yourself in the moments that don't look that good, that look ugly, that hold so much power and so much emotion, but you are there for yourself. Like you're holding that space the way that you would want the masculine to hold space for you. You are there for yourself in the eroticism of your energy and moving around and feeling everything that's happening through your body. Can you be there for you? Can you witness? Can you surrender yourself into you? Can you authentically express everything that you want, your joy, your movement, your awkward dance that just makes you laugh, and be there for you and enjoy it with yourself? Can you do that? Because if you can, you're gonna show that in life. And when you can do all these 3 things for yourself, you can integrate it with the partner, and you can hold other people in that space too. The same thing you've always wanted someone to do for you, you can now do it for yourself. And when the moment comes, you can do it for that other person. What a beautiful gift. So those are the 3 pillars that I'm going to walk you through in the Liberated Woman. Gosh, I am so excited to share this program. I think this is going to be maybe my one signature program. I don't know. I am so thrilled to be sharing this. The women that are going to be in there are going to experience a transcendent experience within themselves, within their womanhood, within their feminine essence. And your essence is really going to be unique to you, which is what I love about this, because feminine energy has its own qualities and its own traits and its own characteristics and its own energetics. But your essence is how you show up. What makes you, your sauciness, your juiciness, your ooziness is unique to you. So if this is something that you're like, oh my God, yes, I want in, then I got something really awesome for you. So this is a Liberated Woman. Right now, it's $333. It starts on Thursday, August 18th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 6 days. It's going to be a transmission followed by a somatic practice, a transmission, somatic practice, transmission, somatic practice, and then we're going to do a 5-day challenge so you can integrate everything that you've learned and really continue that liberation within that container. So important to practice, practice, practice. Show up, show up, show up. Okay, so that's $333 right now. Wait till the end because I have something else for you. So after that, this is a feminine embodiment program. This is really liberating your feminine essence. I also have a program coming out after that called the Self-Led Women, which is really more about it's about feminine leadership. Really activating your inner divine masculine qualities, but with your feminine leading the way, right? Because as feminine, we have the feminine core. So it's really, how are you showing up in life and how do you handle when life happens? This is all leadership. Leadership is being able to, you want something, you're going this way, and then stuff starts to happen in your life. You get obstacles and challenges. How do you show up like that? You want this in a relationship. There's a fight, you get triggered. How are you going to show up when you get triggered? That is self-leadership. How are you going to handle situations at work when things hit the fan? How are you going to show up for yourself and then lead people if you're leading a group? Or just take your own leadership, take your own radical self-responsibility. That is the Self-Led Woman. It is, for me, it is what led me out of a toxic relationship. It's what leads me out of situations that I don't feel good for me anymore. And it's what keeps me moving forward in the direction that I do want. This is a beautiful, beautiful program, which is why I'm doing it right after the Liberated Woman, because I highly recommend that you do this, the feminine essence first, and then do the self-led. So there is a bundle opportunity. So right now the self-led's at $111 because it's pre-sale. And then we have Rebuild, which Rebuild is a program if you want to be the one or the one that got away. This is a program if you want to be the ultimate package in a relationship where a man meets you and you're like, damn, she's got it all. This program is for you. It's 6 weeks. It's an intimate container. And it's definitely application based because I really want a specific type of woman to be in this group. And it's small. Each container is only going to be about 4 to 6 women. So it's very high touch. It's almost like a mastermind, if you will. But I really don't know if I want to call it that. But this is called Rebuild. We're going to create a new blueprint to operate on and let go of the old blueprint that you've been operating on that's been calling in these relationships that you don't really want. Or if you are in a relationship, this is going to elevate you to where you want to be in that relationship. So you don't have to be single. You can absolutely be in a relationship and know that you want to improve yourself. You want to improve. So you want to be that the one or the one that got away. We'll find out. So the Rebuild is, I'm not having any special for today. That's $1,000. That's straight up $1,000, but it includes the Liberated Woman and the Self-Led Woman. So if you're interested in that, please send me a DM and we can talk more about it. Now, if you are interested in the liberated women or the self-led women, I got something for you. If you are here live, I'm not going to be sharing this to anybody. I said it once already on social media and that's it. So if you are here, you're going to get this beautiful discount or special. I don't want to call it a discount. It's something special because I've been wanting to share this transmission for so long. And I felt like I wanted to give something for those who are here, who are going to watch this transmission. So if you want to bundle the two up together, I'm going to give it to you for 50% off. So right now, if you bundle them together, it's $444. So I'm going to give it to you for $222. Like, that's really good. So basically like half off. Or if you just want to do the liberated woman, you're like, I just want to kind of dip my toes in, just want to check it out. I'm going to give you the liberated woman for half. So it's going to be $167. So if you want to do these, send me a DM. Just like, hey, I watched your live. I'm really interested in these programs. I would like to do, whatever. Or if you have any questions as well, absolutely send me some questions. I'd love to answer them. And that is it. That concludes this live. Thank you so much for being here for me. I greatly appreciate it. Not for me, with me. Thank you for being here with me today. It means a lot. And if you feel that this is an important transmission that you would like to share, absolutely please share it to your people. Spread the word, spread the magic, and spread the truth that women need to hear. So I love you. I hope you have a great rest of your night. And if you are going to join the program, slide into my DM so you can get this special, because it's not going to be on the landing page and it's not going to be anywhere else. You got to DM me. All right. Love you. Mwah.